Hello, Shemai. Welcome to my wild Welsh garden. So what on earth is a hibernaculum? Well, it's a place underground where creatures can hibernate, particularly animals like amphibians and reptiles, but also insects and other invertebrates, and it gives them somewhere safe to spend the winter. It is a little bit difficult for me to describe, so I'm going to draw you a diagram. First of all, you dig a hole in the ground about 1/2 metre deep. Now, the creatures need access to the hibernaculum, and the way that you do that is by using pieces of drain pipe that you put into the hole so that one end is level with the ground. So there's one piece of drain pipe, 2 pieces of drain pipe, and then you fill the rest of the hole with all the bits and pieces that you can find around the place. Any bits of wood or twigs, any bricks or stones, pieces of terracotta pot that have broken are really good. The idea is that you fill the hole with this kind of debris that gives lots of crevices and hiding places. So pieces of wood and sticks, stones of different sizes, bricks, particularly ones with interesting holes, and pieces of terracotta pot, particularly pieces that have got curves in, and then finish off with just a few leaves or a bit of leaf mould. Put a few pieces of wood across the top just to stop all the soil falling in again, and then pile all the soil that you dug out of the hole onto the top. And then the soil pile becomes home to all manner of invertebrates, beetles and worms and other creepy crawlies. And then the top, the surface, you can either just leave and see what arrives, see what comes and colonises it, or you can even leave it bare, which will provide habitat for different invertebrates. Or you can make it pretty by sowing it with meadow grass or with wild flower seeds. This is my old pond at the top of the garden, which I'm delighted to discover has frogs in. And this year, for the first time in 5 years, I have frogs spawn. So I'm really hoping that this year I have lots of frogs. So I want to provide somewhere for them to hibernate so that they stay in my garden, because I would really like it if they would eat some of my slugs. And this is the area just next to the pond where I'm going to build the hibernaculum. There used to be a green shrub here. I don't know what it was, but it could have been a euonymus. But anyway, it didn't really do any favours apart from being evergreen, because nothing ate it. It didn't flower, so it wasn't really sort of earning its place in a wildlife garden. So I've dug it out, and next to it was a rock rose. I have several rock roses, so that's gone too, and some non-native grasses at the edge of the pond. So I'm left with this nice expanse of bare ground, and this is where I'm going to dig my hole and make my hibernaculum. So here's the hole dug. It's, as I say, 1/2 metre deep, and it's about 1.5 metres long and 1 metre wide, and it's roughly rectangular shape. But it really doesn't matter how big or what shape it is. It depends on how big the space is that you've got, how big you want your hibernaculum, and of course how much stuff you've got that you can put in it. And there it is in relation to the pond. So when the frogs wake up in the spring, they won't have very far to go, will they? And because I've been planning this for a while, I've been collecting all sorts of bits and pieces, and I've got a wheelbarrow full of them here. There is plenty of pieces of wood. There are some bricks with some of them with very interesting holes in. There are terracotta pots that have broken over the years with a nice curve so that creatures can get underneath them. I've got some old roofing tiles that have come off my roof. All manner of bits and pieces. And so this is how the creatures get into the hibernaculum. These are old bits of drain pipe, 2 different sizes. So one for big creatures and one for not so big creatures. And they go into the hole like that, and then the top of the pipe is at ground level. So there's a way for the creatures to get down into the nice place to hibernate. So that's what I'll try doing now, is putting all of that into the hole with the pipes, and then I'll show you. That's what it's looking like so far, but I've not filled the hole up yet, and I think I've pretty much exhausted what's in the garden, so I'm going to go over the road and see what I can find over there. I've been around the garden again, and I've just found a few more bits and pieces, and I've been over the road and I've got some sticks and some wood and some prunings from a tree and some more wood. So I'm going to chuck all that in that hole on top of all that, and it should fill it up, I think. There we are, pretty much filled up, I would say. So the next thing is to add a little bit of leaf mould. I've gathered up some leaves from around the place and a few more sticks, and that's pretty much filled it up, I think. So it just needs a bit of wood put over the top, and then the soil piled on top of that. The wood is to stop the soil from filling it up, really, because you still want to have some gaps. So wood on the top, then soil, and I'll show you what the finished item looks like. Wood on the top, and then all the soil that I piled around the outside and goes onto the top. One finished hibernaculum. So there are 4 entrances. There are 2 over the other side and 2 this side, and you can see they've got little porches to stop the rain getting in and drowning any creatures that might be under there. So they'll all be lovely and snug. It's now a few days later, and we have had such a lot of rain. We had 2 days of really, really heavy rain, and it has sunk down quite a bit. It's not nearly such a tall sort of pile as it was, and I think it does need to be a bit taller. My wheelbarrow has a puncture at the moment, so when I get my new inner tube, I will bring some soil from elsewhere in the garden and pile it up a little bit more. But that's what it's looking like now. There's the 2 entrances on this side, and here we are on the other side. There's an entrance through there, and there's an entrance down there deep in shadow, and I've planted some sweet woodruff here, which I believe is happy in shady conditions, and once the hedge grows up, this area is going to be shadier. And then I've planted the mahonia there, and I've finished the path up as far as the top of the garden. So this is all done with slate, and it goes down there to just outside the greenhouse. I've come down here with the sun behind me. So there's the pond and the hibernaculum. It's a lovely, lovely day, but there's a very strong cold wind blowing. So I've just crouched down here by the greenhouse out of the wind. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and hope to see you in the next one, when I have frog spawn updates for you and some really exciting news about hedgehogs. So thanks for watching. It's great to have your company as I'm wilding my garden and making it better for wildlife. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Hwyl fawr.